As a kid growing up in high school, my passions academically were math and science. Science except for biology, because biology was a little bit too squishy. Okay. So it was very obvious when I graduated from high school I should go on and pursue more analytical endeavors. As Mike indicated, I went on, got a degree in aerospace engineering, learned a lot about numbers, differential equations, physics. Ethnology of political systems was not my strong suit when I had to take it before graduation, obviously. After that, I went on and got a second degree, another analytical environment, accounting, finance. Very comfortable. I thought it was very logical, and throughout my college career, particularly in the School of Business, it was all about the numbers. When you're running a business, it's all about finance. Or maybe that was just my focus in school as opposed to listening to my marketing classes and my management classes. So after many years in business, I realized that wasn't so. And after about 5 years working with my analyst as a financial person, it gives me great pride in standing up in front of a group like this and saying, it's all about marketing. What a transformation. What a transformation. But it's all about marketing. If you want to be a hermit and live off by yourself, you can deal with nature, you can deal with numbers. But the minute you start dealing with people, it's all about marketing. It's all about persuasion. It's all about implanting in your mind an idea in their mind such that they will take action. Whether it's a discussion you have, whether it's a political view you want to take and present to somebody else, it's critical that you get inside of their mind. Habits are hard to break. Personalities are very difficult to change. A person who has analytical background, who's played in the analytical world, you fall back on that continuously when you forget your focus. A few weeks ago, I did a presentation which I thought was really dynamite. I was excited about it, you know. I wanted to focus in on the element of courage associated with carrying this country forward. So I had this little tripod, and I spent a lot of time, and the comments back was, it was too mechanical and too analytical. I haven't learned much over these years, you know. That's stupid. So what I did, habits are hard to break, right? It was Jonathan Swift who said, you can't make a silk purse out of a sow's ear. Well, but maybe you can make a sow's ear purse out of a sow's ear. Okay, so I learned a little bit from that, and I stepped back and said, okay, let's play a what-if game. Let's talk about the national debt, and to implant in a person's mind, you first of all have to get into their mind. One of Stephen Covey's 7 habits is first seek to understand, then be understood. I kind of cut that down to a very simplistic view which says shut up and listen. Okay? That's really what that means. It says don't try to sell somebody until you understand where they're coming from. And yet we as people who are involved in politics, trying to persuade other people, we try to tell them what we think versus listen to where they're coming from. Those of us who have attended and gone through leadership program of the Rockies recognize these symbols associated with where people come from. Okay, you have people that are much more patriotic in views. You have people that are much more economic, analytical, if you please. I don't know who falls in that category. You have people who are passionate from a spiritual standpoint and come from things from a spiritual viewpoint. You have people that come from the heart. Okay, women are from, men are from Mars, women are from Venus, the other way around. They're obviously different. There's a caring associated with mothers that fathers can't have. I have 4 children, and I'm here to tell you they're different. The way Karen approaches our children is much different than the way I do because of where we come from. And then there's an equality of outcome. Won't talk much about the liberal social, the people who look at equality of outcomes. Okay, I can't relate to that to the point of being able to get into their head. But if we take a look at the national debt and we say, okay, let's talk about the problems we have with our national debt, the crisis. We can call it a crisis. We can call it a travesty. There's a lot of words for it. It's out of control. As an analytical person, I find it incredibly offensive that we can't even figure out within a few $100 billion of what it is. We can jockey some numbers around and fool people, say, well, it's only 16.7 million, except for the real liability we have for all this unfunded obligations the country has, which drives it up to 30 trillion, trillions and trillions. That's beyond comprehension. Even for an analytical person, I can't relate to that number. But I know it's big, and I know it's incredibly impactful. So if you look at it from the standpoint of a person and you're trying to convince them about the problem with the national debt, you have to understand which one of these areas they fall in and be able to communicate in a way that you can get inside of their head. If they're patriotic, if they're order and rules, you talk about constitutional issues. It's outside of the realm of the Constitution. The government does not have the authority to incur that kind of debt. If you're talking about the person who's more analytical, like myself, just the numbers, the growing numbers, how quickly that meter is going crazy, I deal with that. I understand that. That makes sense. Give me numbers and I can tell you an answer. A person that comes from the heart, who's caring, you talk about the impact it's going to have on their children, the next generation that is not going to be able to start a business because all the money that they ever make is gone. They can't raise capital. They can't grow their business. A person from a faith standpoint, this is theft. This is flat-out theft. This is kind of like imposing original sin on the next generation. Equality of outcomes, I don't know how to deal with that. Those people are... I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Okay. They're gone. They're gone. But there is some opportunity. There is some opportunity here. When I give you the term or the name Rahm Emanuel, what comes to mind? Evil. Evil? Yeah. Serpent? Dirty?
Never let a crisis go to waste.
Thank you. Thank you. Never let a crisis go to waste. But there was more to that. He said, what I mean by that is that it will create an opportunity to do things that we never thought we had the capability of doing. AJ pointed out there was a plethora. I was going to use gaggle of crises. But AJ used plethora. I don't know where the word plethora came from for his speech, but it's a good word to use, so I'll use plethora, okay? Ted? That's for him, okay? Okay, all right. Okay, thank you. It's a plethora of crises that gives us the opportunity to do things that we didn't think we had the capability of doing. If you think about it and you step back and we start pinning on Senator Udall, who's coming up for election. What are you going to do, Senator Udall, about the IRS? What are you going to do about NSA? What are you going to do about Obamacare that's totally unacceptable to anybody that understands where it's coming from? We have an opportunity as a result of these crises to do things exactly the way Rahm Emanuel said that we couldn't do them unless there was a crisis. That we have the opportunity to do things we didn't think were possible. He said, how are we going to get rid of Obamacare? Well, I don't know, it's there. We're going to fight, we're going to do things. But we have that opportunity today as a result of these crises. We need to leverage off of that and use that. Okay. We need to communicate. Don't think about what we're doing, what we want to say. Get inside of their head and understand, first of all, where they're coming from. Use their words to play back to them with the ideas that we want to implant in such a way that they will take action towards the right solution. That might just work. That might just work. Mr. Toastmaster.